Hello everybody and welcome to this new video of English intended for the students of first year Science and Technology. In this video, we are going to have a look at the unit of construction. We will start by discussing a text about construction. Then we will provide some explanations using some photos and definitions. And at the end, we are going to do an exercise about some of the words that we have learned in this lesson. Now, what is construction? Construction means the erection or assembly of large structures, primarily those which provide shelter, such as commercial and residential buildings. Notice here that commercial buildings are those with commercial purposes such as markets, and residential buildings are those with dwelling purposes. It also includes major works such as ships, aircraft, and public works such as roads, dams, and bridges. The major elements or components of a building include the foundation, which forms the solid underground base of a building and supports the building and gives it stability. The structure, which supports all the imposed loads and transmits them to the foundation. By load, we mean the force or weight that is pressing down on the foundation. We have the exterior walls, which may or may not be part of the primary supporting structure, and they are outside walls, of course. We have the interior partitions that separate some parts of the building from others, and they may or may not be part of the primary supporting structure. The environment control systems, including the heating, ventilating, air conditioning, lighting, and acoustical systems, like the power, water supply, and waste disposal systems. And of course, any building needs to be supplied with water, electricity, and so on. Here we have a simple overview of a house structure. As you can see, the lower part is the foundation. We have also the load-bearing walls, which support the building, and the non-bearing walls that are inside the building and support only the weights. We have the ceiling, which is the top inside surface, and the roof, which is the structure that covers the building. Now we are going to see the different types of foundations. But before, let's see what is a foundation. Foundation is the lowest part of the building or the civil structure that is in direct contact with the soil, which transfers loads from the structure to the soil safely. Generally, the foundation can be classified into two types. We have shallow foundations and deep foundations. Now, what is the difference between shallow and deep foundations? Remember that shallow is the opposite of deep, which means having a large distance from the surface to the bottom. And shallow means not having a large distance from the surface to the bottom. So, as its name implies, shallow foundation transfers the load to a stratum. A stratum is a layer which is present in a shallow depth. Deep foundation, on the other hand, transfers the load to a deeper depth below the ground surface. There are different types of shallow foundations, for example, individual or isolated footing, combined footing, strip foundation, raft or mat foundation. For deep foundations, we can find pile foundation, drain shafts, or caissons. And we are going in the next pages to see photos or pictures to facilitate the understanding of these types. So the following photos illustrate the differences between the different types of foundations. In this photo, we have an isolated footing, which is the most common type of foundation. It is constructed for a single column, as you can notice. In this photo, we have combined footing, which is constructed when two or more columns are close enough and their isolated footings overlap each other. Here we have an example of spread footing, and it is the kind of foundations whose base is wider than a typical load-bearing wall foundation. They are used for columns, walls, and bridge piers where the bearing soil layer is within 3 meters. As you can see, this is the last type of shallow foundations. It is what we call mat foundations. They are spread across the entire area of the building to support heavy structural loads from columns and walls that are very high. Now we deal with the deep foundations, and as we said, we have two main types. We have pile foundation, which is a type of deep foundation that is used for soils where soil condition near the ground surface is not suitable for heavy loads, which are transferred to hard rock strata much deep below the ground level or the ground surface. The last type of deep foundation is the Casein Foundation, or what we call also drilled shafts. They are similar to pile foundations. They are most often used in the construction of bridge piers or other structures that require foundation beneath rivers and other bodies of water. Well, this was for the types of foundations. I hope that this explanation was helpful and helped you to make the difference between the different types and kinds of foundation. Now let's have a quick look at the main important jobs in construction that are many and varied. And I have provided you with some photos here also. In the first photo, we have an architect. The architect is someone who designs buildings. In the second one, we have a mason. Okay, so the mason is the person who constructs buildings and houses. In the third photo, we have quantity surveyor. Quantity surveyor calculates the amounts of material needed for construction. We have also surveyor who examines the conditions of lands and buildings professionally. In the photo number 4, we have the painter, and of course the painter is the one who paints the walls and the ceilings. Here we have other photos also. In the first one, we have the plasterer. The plasterer is the one who applies plaster on walls and ceilings. In the second photo, we have the roofer. A roofer is the person who constructs the roof. In the third photo, we have electrician. Electrician is the person who installs and maintains electrical equipment. And in the last photo, we have a plumber. A plumber is the person who fits and repairs water pipes, fittings, and so on. Now it's time to practice. We have this simple exercise in which we are going to complete the gaps using some of the words that we have learned in this lesson. All right. Now, there are two main methods of building houses. In one, solid walls known as, now how do we call solid walls that supports construction? We call them load-bearing walls. So in one, solid walls known as load-bearing walls are constructed. They support the floors and the roof of the building. In the other, a framework of steel, timber or concrete is constructed. The frame can be covered or filled in with lightweight material. When building a house, the first of all examines the site and makes a plan of the size and shape of the plot of land. Now, who examines the site and makes a plan, okay, professionally? How do we call him? The surveyor. So the surveyor first of all examines the site and makes a plan of the size and shape of the plot of land. Next, makes a detailed drawing of the building, make a design, all right, and gives information about the materials which are to be used. Of course, the architect. So next, an architect makes a detailed drawing of the building and gives information about the materials which are to be used. Calculates exactly how much of these materials will be needed for the building. Of course, we are speaking about the quantity surveyor. So a quantity surveyor calculates exactly how much of these materials will be needed for the building. Then the ground is dug out and the laid. Okay, when we dig out the ground, of course, we are speaking about the foundation. Then the ground is dug out and the foundation laid. During building, who makes the wooden structures? Of course, carpenters. So during building, carpenters make the wooden structures. Then cut and place stone. Masons, of course. Masons cut and place stones. Then who constructs the roof? Of course, roofers. Roofers construct the roof and cover walls and ceilings with plaster. Of course, here we are speaking about the plaster. And the plasterers cover walls and ceilings with plaster. Once the building has been completed, now what do we need? We need electrical cable. So, once the building has been completed, electricians lay meters of electrical cable and who installs pipes for heating and water? Of course, plumbers. Once the building has been completed, electricians lay meters of electrical cable and plumbers install pipes for heating and water. Finally, painters paint the walls and ceilings of the building. Now we came to the end of this video. I hope that it was very helpful. Thank you so much for watching and goodbye.